medallist for a while, but Patrick Cripps, brownlow medalist. How does that sound to you?
I actually don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's
Do both.
yeah. I love footy growing up as a kid, and I still remember being at boarding school back in WA, and I used to always ask my mum, make sure you sign me out, give me a leave on Brownlow night, because I used to love watching it. And my older brother Daniel used to always sign me out. We used to always watch it together, and mate, it's unbelievable. I can't put it into words at the moment, but it's a massive honour, and I'm absolutely pumped.
So you've clocked 20 in a 2-win season before. This year was the first time you got on the right side of the win-loss ledger. You would have at some point thought about what you might vote. What were you thinking?
Oh, to be honest, it was just nice to actually win some games, and my first probably. It's actually some people are going to laugh, but the first sort of 7-8 years of my journey and Carlton have been really tough, and I'm big on sort of optimism and hope, and always finding a way forward. And this year, it was sort of the first time in my career we've actually been ahead of the ledger. So it's just. I just love winning games of footy. I love playing with my mates, and this is just a bit of reward for effort. But there's a lot of other people that to win this award have to help you out. So there's a lot of people I need to thank.
Get to the thanks at the end. We'll get to where the club is right now. But your mum said you were riding a motorbike at 3, driving a car legal at 5, and whatever you were doing, there was a football somewhere. Did you love football from the moment you smelled the show?
It's funny though, I actually drove the car to the garage at 5. It was probably Mum didn't tell her. I cracked it at her. I was actually with the old man. He was standing with the grain. And I put my hand near the auger, which is, any farmer would tell you, it's not the smartest thing to do. So he gave me a clip around the ears, and I went home and I said, look, I'm getting out of here. The Land Cruiser was a manual. Started it up. Through the garage, there we go. Probably wasn't my smartest moment in my life, but it's crazy to look back at. Northampton's a big part of my life. My family's a big part of my life, and something I'm both parts of my life I'm very proud of.
Northampton, 500 k's from Perth. You sold the farm, but what did farming teach you? You saw the old man going every day.
Yeah, I was in Europe recently with both my parents, and when I was a kid, they gave me the best upbringing possible. And farming stuff, like it has its good years, it has its bad years, and I actually sat down with my old man and talked about the drought in 06 and 07, and just talked about probably the mental toll we went through then, and it gave me appreciation for what my parents went through, and gave me the opportunity not only to play A.f.l, but they put me through school, and I probably didn't realise how tough that time was, because my parents just showed up every day as my parents. And I look back now as I got older and had a bit more appreciation, I suppose, for my parents, and I realised how much they did for us as kids. And my old man was my footy coach in juniors. I still thought he was the same person through 06 and 07, but to him, it was pretty tough through those times. So I have a lot of appreciation for both my parents.
You're an Eagles fan growing up. 2 favourite players were Brownlow medalists, and then subsequently there's been another 2 Brownlow medalists that have walked into your life. Tell us about why you wear number 9, and then what Chris Judd taught you at the Blues.
Yeah, obviously grew up in a small town called Northampton. Loved my time there, but massive Eagles fan. Was lucky enough to get through a bit of a golden era there. Went to the 06 grand final. Next door neighbours to Daniel Chick back home, so loved them, and it was pretty special. I was lucky enough during that time when I got drafted to Carlton. Chris Judd was still there, and gave me so much time when I first got there. And obviously, with the ball game and stuff now, I do a lot of stuff with Lockie Neal and Tom Mitchell. So
3 Brownlow medalists running a company together.
Yeah, they rubbed it in for a bit, so now I can get to their level, which is always nice. But yeah, look, I think growing up as a kid, you just idolise people, and Chris Judd and Ben Cousins were both role models of mine, and it's pretty weird. Like when you get to A.f.l level, you still feel like you're a young kid. I still feel like I'm a young kid on the farm, and when you go to a Carlton training session, there's an open training session, and kids have your number on your back, you still feel like you're their age, and you realise, how much influence you have on young people, and especially Carlton people.
You're the Blues' first brownlow medallist since Juddy. People look up to you now, and they have for a long time. When you first moved to Melbourne, you really battled with the fame and the celebrity. What did you do about it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's we come from a town of 800 people. Went to boarding school in Perth, and I always say when I first got to Carlton, I was a bit, thicker around the gills. I had a bit of weight. A lot of people said I rolled into the club, so they were right. I wasn't the most athletic bloke going around, but it's a weird feeling being up here. It's something I always dreamed of playing A.f.l, and I always dreamed, playing in a team that has a lot of success, and we haven't quite got there. But although these individual awards are great recognition for a lot of hard work, it's a lot of a team stuff that really drives you. And we haven't got there yet, but as a player, we've been down the bottom for a lot of years, and we feel like we're really building now. And I'm so grateful for Carlton giving the opportunity. And although we haven't got there yet, I feel like we're building a lot of momentum, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction, and gives me a lot of drive and motivation going forward.
2019 was a tough year. You were carrying the burden of the club. Was there a round, the match against Brisbane, where you almost pulled out? It was just too much for you?
Yeah, it was. It was a tough time. At that time, we'd won 3 out of 44 games, so it was really tough. And I look at teams now that they go through a really tough time, and I have a lot of sympathy for them, and I can relate. And, it is tough, but like I said before, I'm big on optimism and hope, and finding a way forward. And I feel like we've done that. And it was tough. I had a really before that game, I had a stinker. We got tagged out of it, and I think that was a week that Bolts got unsacked, and he had a big influence on the club at that time. And I went out, and that week I was really close to missing the game. I didn't really want to play. I was really fried mentally. And I remember talking to my manager, talking to my family, and I said, look, I don't even want to play this week. And they said, just give us the day of the game. And the day of the game, I woke up and I said, look, all right, I'm gonna play this game. When I was driving to the game, I was pretty tired still. I was like, all right, I'm the leader of this club. I'm gonna put on my best foot forward. I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna play footy, and it's probably the best game I've ever played in my career. And that led me down to a path of realising how important the mental side of the game is. And no matter what you're going through, you can still perform at a high level. And we're lucky enough to win that game. So it was our 4th win out of a lot of games. And since then, I feel like we've slowly built some momentum. Not many people would know.
Crippa.
As you stand here tonight, you're so eloquent, but there was a time when you refused to do media as well. It became too much for you. You said to the club, I can't be put in front of the cameras, and went through a speech pathologist and got plenty of help.
Yeah, I couldn't string 2 words together in front of the media, and that's not a lie. In end of 2015, started 2016, I was that nervous that it was probably lucky we didn't play well during that time, because if I play well and we won, I would have to speak to the people on the ground, and if we ever did that, I would try and avoid them, because I was that nervous, because I used to stutter a bit in front of the media, and when I see young guys now, they're really nervous in front of the media. I had a lot of empathy for them. And I remember I was at the club one day, and Mark Murphy was doing a press conference, and I saw it on TV, and he spoke so well. And I remember sitting, it was in my head, I said to myself, look, I'd like to be able to talk like that in front of people. And at that time, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And so I had some great people in my network that not only the media manager, was club psychologist, Michael Jamison, who's had a big influence in my early days. We did some mock interviews for a good 6 months there, and I refused to do some media there for 6 months, and we just practiced interviews for 6 months, and got to the point where I was comfortable, and now I actually really enjoy it. But yeah, it wasn't easy going there for a bit, and now I'm happy to chat in front of everyone.
Just on your career, you've been lured home so many times, but The reason you didn't was you felt perhaps it's a family background. You haven't finished the job you started at Carlton. The last time Carlton had the ultimate success, you were a few months old.
Yeah, it was 1995. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm always grateful for the club to give me the opportunity. Like I said before, I wasn't the fittest bloke, I wasn't the fittest guy going around, and they took a chance on me. And in my draft year, I probably wouldn't have got drafted at the start of the year. So I've always felt like I'm a loyal person. My parents always instilled that into me, and it's been some really tough years, and it's taken I suppose a lot of optimism and hope and really good people in my corner to keep forging the way forward, and I feel like now we're really gaining some traction as a club, and I'm really optimistic in what's going forward. And I've always said as a player, we built this place from the ground up, and although I didn't go away this year, that really hurt at the end of the year, but I feel like we're gaining some really momentum going into next year, and I'm excited for what as a club we're going to produce, and we've got some really good people at the club, and I'm really excited.
Two last questions before I hand over. Round 21, you thought you were rubbed out. You called Dennis Canuto, got off, and you produced arguably one of the greatest games in the history of football in round 23. Did you think you produced a three-vote game?
To be honest, by the end of the game, I was that sort of numb. I'd rather get 0 touches and win than play the way I did. But it's sort of it was a weird time. The one thing I do notice is the crowd in the last game, and Carlton College fans are so passionate. They probably go at each other a fair bit, but that last round as a player was so special to play in. It was 90,000, two big fan bases going at it. There was momentum going both ways, and I just remember as a kid growing up, I just wanted to play A.f.l footy and play in front of big crowds. And I remember walking out that day, and I walked out and I was like, this is what footy's all about. There's two big fan bases, and there was a lot of momentum swings in that game. And you talk about gratitude. It's pretty special to be able to play in those games.
Last one before I let you go, Bossy, brownlow medallist. He's just turned the club seemingly around completely. What's he helped you with?
He's been great. When you talk about the brownlow medalist, and everyone stood up before, everyone stood up, and then Diesel stood up, and Diesel, everyone sat down, and Diesel was still standing up. So the two-timer, but he's been great. He's not only to me, but a lot of the guys, he's instilled a lot of confidence and belief in a lot of players. And one thing I will say is the people he brought in. He's created a great environment where people can really be themselves, and not only this, owe this to him, but I feel like we've established a really good platform to build future success. So he's a great man. He knows what this is, but also knows what it's fun, and he's really good at building relationships with people.
Microphone is yours. I'll get it anyway.
No, thanks, Adam. I didn't prepare a speech, but I always thank people that mean the most to me first, and that's family. I said in my 150th game this year that family is the backbone of what people do, and I actually teared up that day, and I'm a bit more prepared, or I had a few more beers than I did that day. But my parents, my brothers, they mean everything to me. But most importantly, my fiance, she's the backbone of what I do. They're all the backbone of what I do, and you can't play high-level sport without a good backbone. So thank you. The Carlton Footy Club, like I said before, we've had some really tough times, but they gave me the opportunity to play high-level footy, and I'm forever indebted to the Carlton Footy Club. We give a lot to footy clubs, but what you realise is footy clubs give so much more back to you as a player, as a person. So I thank the Carlton Footy Club, to Bossy, Andrew Russell, and Tim Clark, especially this year. They're people that really had a massive influence this year in my footy career. There's so many more from the Carlton Footy Club that I could thank, but I'll get to them in person. But most importantly, it's the boys. I love playing footy with my mates. In terms of the whole group, I love them, but more especially the midfield group that Tim Clark sort of really moulded. But I know Big Chugger, Walshy, who else? Charlie's on a mid, Doc's on a mid, but those boys, we feel like we've got a really tight group, and as a player, you can't achieve high level of footy without good players and a good support network around you. So yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone that's helped me, and lastly, I'd just like to thank the A.f.l for putting on the night, and it's great to see so many people in the room since the COVID happened. Yeah, I love playing footy, I love playing with mates, so thank you.
Last question. You're a competitive beast. Will you watch the grand final on the weekend?
I will. Yeah, I'd love to be sober this time next year. That's my goal. But I think as competitive as I am, you've got to appreciate how hard it is to get to the last game. And I think Geelong and Sydney, they're both on winning streaks, and they deserve to be there. So hope it's close. I think it'll be a crack at the game, and maybe the best team who wins. No, I'll tell you after the game. I'll sit on the fence.
He's just the sixth player from Carlton to win the brownlow. In the past 50 years, it's only been a couple of all-time greats, Greg Williams and Chris Judd. They've claimed the honour. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the 2022 Brownlow medal